So this is going to be fun. And just to give you an idea what we've been doing is we have been secret shopping both of your communities. We have assessed more than 1,500 communities around the world, in Canada, in 45 US states, Western Europe, Scandinavia. When we do the assessment, we look at marketing. Was it easy to find information about you? Was it effective? Did it help us close the sale if we wanted to move here? How do you stack up with competition? There's a lot of cities and towns in Wisconsin. Was it convenient to get information? But what I'm really going to concentrate on is the on-site assessment, what we did. We looked at signage, gateways, wayfinding, overall appeal, critical mass, I'll explain that. Amenities, do you have what's parking lot, restrooms, things to see and do. So this is an honest look at you from somebody from the outside. At the end of the day, you're going to be judged by your product. Marketing, no matter how much money you spend, will bring people to Waterford or Burlington once. The only thing that ever brings them back is your product. And that is, what is the primary activity that drew us? Right? That made you worth a special trip. And what else do you have to offer while we're here? And then your amenities, which are like parking, public restrooms, visitor information, parks, all those things, and then the people we interact with. That's it. So when we do this assessment, we wear 3 hats. So this is not just about tourism. The way we see this is, are you a great place to live, raise a family, or maybe retire? Would we live here to work, invest in, or bring a business to one of your 2 towns? Or as a leisure visitor? So here's the question that we did this whole assessment. Based on the news of Foxconn coming, which will create over time about 10,000 direct jobs, which will spin nearly another 10,000 indirect jobs. That's a lot of new jobs. So if they're going to bring all these people in, they're going to come from around the world. A lot of them, they want to get as many local. If I want to get a job at Case, at SC Johnson, or Foxconn, where would I live? Then we want to say, with them coming in, where would I want to invest? Would it be Lake Pleasant? Would it be out here? Would it be in Racine? Where would it be? Where are the best opportunities? If you're a company like Foxconn or any of these big companies, they can easily get people to come down from Milwaukee. They can come up from Chicago. What you don't want is people coming up here, earning the money, getting back on trains, buses, or cars, creating traffic nightmares, and then heading out with the money that they made in this county. The whole goal is, how do you make this a desirable place that people want to live rather than commute to and from? We are now in the age of placemaking. If you are a place, particularly for young families, so if you're one of those places where the kids graduate from high school and the second they graduate, they said, the second I'm out of here, I'm blowing this down. And that's what you want to stop. What do you do to get them to come back? Here's the thing. Tourism is the front door to your non-tourism economic development. Remember I said quality of life is leading economic development? Nothing showcases it like tourism. And it's the purest form of economic development. People come, they spend money and go home. We like that, right? And then it's the fastest growing industry in Wisconsin. And if you want to get visitors, the first thing you do is, how do you get them to stop? Then if you can get people to stay 2 hours in Burlington or Waterford, spending will double, just 2 hours. And then if you can get them to spend overnight, 4 times. You know what I always say? I'd rather see you get half the visitors spending twice as much money and time. Here's what you need to understand. We might come here for, I don't know whether it's the Fox River, whatever the big thing is, but the number one activity once we arrive, not the reason we came, but the number one activity once we arrive is shopping, dining, entertainment in a pedestrian-friendly, intimate setting, your downtowns. And by the way, that is where 80% of all non-lodging visitor spending takes place. So if you can get us here in Burlington, we spend the night over in the Hampton Inn, and we might eat a dinner here, but if we can spend the night, do you have this? Now, here's the big one. You ready? That 80%, that's why they put downtown Disney outside each of its parks. But here's the big deal. Of that, 70% happens after 6. 70%, you have to understand, we're at work the rest of the time. That's the National Retail Federation came up with that. You know who's part of that? Walmart, Piggly Wiggly, Walgreens, CVS, all the big box retailers that are open until like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, midnight, 24 hours, and yet your downtowns, if you close at 6, you're not going to get your young people to come back either. And so there's the question, are you open? And then, you know, there it is, you must promote your local businesses. I've seen so many communities say, well, we can't promote local business. We're using public money to promote local business. Well, yeah, that's called economic development. Can you imagine Orlando? We have 172 attractions, but we can't mention any of them by name because they're all privately owned. You know, we got that one, you know, the mouse with the big ears. You know, I mean, can you imagine Napa Valley? Oh, we have 242 wineries, but we can't mention by name because they're all privately owned. You need to promote your private businesses. So now, with that as a setup, you need to understand what they do. A lot of times what people do is they will go to Google and they will just type in Burlington, Wisconsin, and look at the pictures and determine whether you're a place. Yeah, I know some of you are seeing that right there. I don't even know what that is. But one thing I did see is some streets underwater. That's how I knew you had to flood. But a lot of times here's Chocolate City. But you know, people do this just to get a quick, you know, overlook. What's it like? And so I didn't see anything really negative. There was a good map right there, but this is what we do. You know, then I see things like this and it looks like a nice downtown. I wish there were human beings in the picture. But I mean, they just pull these from the web. So by the way, as you populate your websites and everything, always make sure you load them with photographs, because Google just picks up photos from everywhere that are tagged that might have the word Burlington in Wisconsin or WI in there. Instagram is huge. By the way, if you want to talk to millennials, they go to Instagram. Their parents use Facebook. And a lot of these photographs, as long as they're tagged with like a hashtag Burlington, Wisconsin or Waterford or whatever, as long as you use some of those, Google will start to pick those up and they'll start showcasing great photos of you. And then the next thing we'll do is look for schools. If you want young families, one of the first things they're going to do is, what are the schools like? So of course I typed in top rated school districts in Wisconsin. One thing that's really important on your websites is to showcase your schools. Particularly here, because your schools on this side of 94 generally outperform those on the east side of 94. That's a selling point for you. Motivating factors for young families. Number one is job and business opportunities, and you have thousands of unfulfilled jobs in this county. Most of them are family wage. Number two, schools. And this is in priority. This is in order of importance. Number three is housing, quality neighborhoods, affordability, amenities, you know, like your parks. Then number four is recreation, shopping, and downtowns. And number five is diversity. One thing you need to understand is the millennial generation is the most diverse generation in American history. And they embrace it. And so you're going to see a lot of people looking for it. But that is in order of their importance. Was once you get over 94, that decompression as you head this way. You could feel it. And so each time we came out here from Racine, it was like a breath of fresh air. And I really thought, really, your focus should be country living. You're close, you're on this side where you have these beautiful homes, neighborhoods, you have farms, it feels safer. Somebody came up to me and said, you know, I find it weird. They said, I haven't used a key to my house in years, I had to go get one made. You know, I mean, that doesn't happen everywhere anymore. So with that as a background, we decided, here we come. You ready?